Selected parts from the book One Life is Not Enough, written by Shri K. Natwar Singh. Part 4. On 25th June 1945, Lord Wavell called a conference of all political leaders in Shimla. Mahatma Gandhi was also invited by the Viceroy for the conference, and word spread that he would be traveling by the frontier mail, which stopped in Bharatpur for a few minutes. I told my father that, come what may, I would go to Bharatpur to see Gandhiji at the station. This posed a dilemma for my father. Had he not been an important part of the Maharaja's establishment, he would have had no problem in allowing me to do so. But his allegiance was to his ruler, the Maharaja. My going to the Bharatpur railway station would in no way go unnoticed by the British CID. Finally, he relented. Wearing a khadi kurta pajama and a Gandhi cap, I reached the station where there was bedlam with a lot of local Congress leaders awaiting the arrival of the train with garlands. 5 rupees in hand, the amount the Mahatma charged for an autograph, I carried a photograph of Gandhiji in the hope of getting it signed by him. It was scorchingly hot. The train arrived punctually at 3:15 p.m. and even before it came to a halt, there was a mad rush to locate the great man's third-class compartment. I was pushed around and got nowhere near his coach. The minutes were ticking by. In desperation, I jumped between 2 carriages, crawled to the other side, and pulled myself up to the window. There he was, shaven-headed, watch tucked into the waistline of his loincloth. He was much darker than I had thought him to be. Bapuji, your autograph please. I kept shouting till a man came to the window and told me not to shout. No autograph. Bapu is fasting. It is his day of silence. I later discovered that the man who admonished me was none other than Pyare Lal, Gandhiji's personal secretary. The train moved. I jumped and nearly landed on my back, the photograph still in my hand. The Gandhi cap too survived. And sure enough, my teenage presence at the railway station had been noted, with the report eventually reaching my father. He could have sat on it, but it would never have crossed his mind to do so. He caught the Maharaja in one of his less explosive moods and showed him the report. The Maharaja's response was something along these lines: we should be more strict with Natwar. Ask him to keep clear of these Congresswalas. On 6th and 8th August 1945, American planes dropped atom bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, respectively, killing thousands of people. The nuclear age had come. In a lecture, our science teacher described in detail the horrors of their action. Scindia School was not only a left of center secular institution, it was defiantly anti Raj, even though it was situated in a princely state. Nationalism was in the air. On the midnight of 15th August 1947, the entire school was glued to the radio to hear Nehru's speech, which still resonates 65 years after that day. The next day, Principal Shukla hoisted the Indian tricolor on a specially erected pole. I was then in class C3 and was to take the senior Cambridge examination by the end of the year. Among the students, I was the number one nationalist, and my closest friends too shared my views on politics. We loathed both Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Lord Mountbatten, and while we were angry with Gandhiji for agreeing to the partition of India, our reverence for him remained undiminished. The euphoria of independence did not last too long in Gwalior. I sensed a sudden change in the behavior of some of the Muslim boys in my class. They became apprehensive and subdued. Ali Hassan, the only Muslim teacher, decided to migrate to Pakistan. Word also spread that Hindu-Muslim riots had broken out in the city. Perched on the fort, we could see smoke from the burning houses enveloping the city. I sat for the senior Cambridge examination in December 1947. In those days, the question papers came from Cambridge by sea, and the answer papers too took that same route back. The results were declared in May 1948. Outcome: a good second division. I was back home for the winter holidays. On 30th January, father and I were at our Haveli listening to the 5 p.m. news on the radio. Suddenly, the program was interrupted by an earth-shaking announcement. Gandhiji had been assassinated. Father put down his teacup and said, "Beta, बहुत बुरा हुआ. Son, what has happened is very bad." He respected Gandhiji but was not reverential about the great man. He was also not a demonstrative person, but he was visibly upset, and it took him a while to regain his composure. For the next couple of hours, he sat almost motionless and silent. He decided that no dinner was to be cooked that evening. The mysterious hold Gandhi had over millions did not leave my father untouched. To him, Gandhi was more saint, less politician. We remained glued to the radio. He was deeply moved by Nehru's speech. The light has gone out, and I was mesmerized by it. Nothing more appropriate, more memorable, nothing so eloquent could have been said by anyone about Gandhiji. In July 1948, I joined St. Stephen's College, Delhi for the BA Honours degree in history. The next 3 years were among the happiest and most rewarding of my early life. Everything that could go right did go right. I entered the portals of St. Stephen's as a young man of 19, self confident, brimming with elan, arrogance, and self righteousness. At times, I must have been insufferable. I took to St. Stephen's even more enthusiastically than a duck does to water. It did not take me long to fathom why the college had acquired its reputation. It was focused on all round excellence. During World War I, Tagore and Gandhiji stayed with Principal Rudra along with C.F. Andrews, who was then teaching at the college. The sports master was the chain smoking S.K. Bose, who taught philosophy, was a raconteur par excellence, a rabid cricket buff, and a devout bachelor. If you excelled in games, Bose Sahib would save your neck if you were ever in trouble. Such was his authority and influence that even the principal, David Rajaram, never addressed him by his first name Sudhir. It was always Bose Sahib. Another college institution was Shukia. Generations of Stephanians remember him fondly. His pedas, barfi, and samosas were sold next to the college cafe. Our constitutional history professor Ian Shankland used to follow Constituent Assembly debates avidly. At the end of every week, he would make us write a summary of what was discussed. This brought them alive for us. The first term lasted from July to October. On a very wet 15th August 1948, I walked to the Red Fort to hear Jawaharlal Nehru's address to the nation. One among a massive crowd, I could just manage a glimpse of a small figure in white about half a mile from where I was standing. We were all soaking wet, yet no one left the meeting. I did well at college, excelling not only at studies with an eclectic and extensive reading, but also in extracurricular activities such as debates and discussions. I felt blessed. Come final year, I won more prizes than any Stephanian had for decades. I was elected president of the Students' Union, got the Westcote Memorial Prize for the highest marks in history, and the Krishna Prasad Memorial Prize for outstanding all-round achievement. I won colors in tennis, hockey, football, cricket, and athletics. I was the college and university tennis champion and the Delhi State Junior Tennis Champion. Was I the perfect student? Mercifully not. If I were, I would not be of any interest to anyone. I acquired a reputation of being the chief ragger in the college. Ragging was then a civilized affair and not the brutal crusade it became in later years. In July 1949, we selected as our target a third year student who had just shifted into the residence in Rudra South. I led the ragging squad disguised as a teacher. Right in the middle of our ribaldry, misfortune struck in the form of my house tutor, Mr. Ramsden. Not only did he give me a dressing down, we were produced before the principal the next day. We apologized. This was not good enough for Principal Rajaram. 7 of us were sent down for 2 weeks. Where were we to go and what were we to tell our parents? Strategically, I decided not to disturb my father's peace of mind. Instead, I spent 2 happy weeks at my friend Atul Gupta's house on Tughlaq Lane. I returned to college after our Vanavas as an undergraduate celebrity. In my final year, as president of the Students' Union, I travelled to Bombay to take part in the meeting of the National Students' Federation. Inaugurated by Minu Masani, the author of Our India, the first Indian bestseller, the meeting soon became rowdy when communist youth leaders nearly beat him up. I was one of the students who smuggled him out the back door. The concluding session was addressed by Jawaharlal Nehru and Jayaprakash Narayan at the Cricket Club of India. Jayaprakash Narayan took a dig or two at the Prime Minister when speaking about corruption in public life. Principal Rajaram was well known for his malapropisms. He once introduced Countess Mountbatten as Countess Countbatten. Contact with girls from Miranda House, the sister college to St. Stephen's, was initially forbidden, though slowly and steadily chinks appeared in the twin citadels. The silver lining was the telephone with which we could speak to girls at Miranda during the day. Debates and dramatics too broke the barriers. I fell in love proverbially at first sight with Sagari, the most beautiful girl in Miranda House. I met her during an inter-college debating contest. A sophisticated South Indian who set fire to the hearts of uncultured North Indians, she and I got to know each other well and wrote rather chaste letters to each other for a number of years. I kept hers with me till I got married. Her memory still endures. On 26 January 1950, India became a republic. The first Republic Day parade was held in what is now Shivaji Stadium. My brother Bharat Singh was adjutant of the President's bodyguard and escorted President Rajendra Prasad to the stadium. He had arranged a pass for me to be present as well. Even after so many years, I vividly remember the occasion. In April 1951, we had our final examinations. I managed a first division, standing second in Delhi University. Thank you for listening. This posed a dilemma for my father. Had he not been an important part of the Maharaja's establishment, he would have had no problem in allowing me to do so. But his allegiance was to his ruler, the Maharaja. Allegiance. Allegiance. Allegiance means loyalty, faithfulness. Finally, he relented. Wearing a khadi kurta pajama and a Gandhi cap, I reached the station where there was Bedlam. Bedlam. Bedlam means a scene of uproar and confusion. In a lecture, our science teacher described in detail the horrors of their action. Scindia School was not only a left of center secular institution, it was defiantly anti Raj. Left of center means used to describe a political belief that contains some socialist ideas but is not extreme. The euphoria of independence did not last too long in Gwalior. Euphoria. EUPHORIA. Euphoria means a feeling of well being or excitement. We remained glued to the radio. He was deeply moved by Nehru's speech. The light has gone out, and I was mesmerized by it. Nothing more appropriate, more memorable, nothing so eloquent could have been said by anyone about Gandhiji. Eloquent. ELOQUENT. Eloquent means fluent in speaking or writing. Eloquent means giving a clear and strong message. I entered the portals of St. Stephen's as a young man of 19, self-confident, brimming with elan, arrogance and self-righteousness. At times, I must have been insufferable. Elan, ELAN. Elan means energy, style and elegance. Insufferable means intolerable. I took to St. Stephen's even more enthusiastically than a duck does to water. It did not take me long to fathom why the college had acquired its reputation. Fathom, FATHOM. Fathom means understand, comprehend. The sports master was the chain smoking S.K. Bose, who taught philosophy, was a raconteur par excellence. Raconteur, RACONTE. Your raconteur means a person who tells anecdotes in a skillful and amusing way. I did well at college, excelling not only at studies with an eclectic and extensive reading list. Eclectic. ECLECTIC. Eclectic means diverse, wide, broad ranging. In July 1949, we selected as our target a third year student who had just shifted into the residence in Rudra South. I led the ragging squad disguised as a teacher. Right in the middle of our ribaldry, misfortune struck in the form of my house tutor, Mr. Ramsden. Ribaldry, RIBJLDRY. Ribaldry means amusingly coarse, rudeness. Not only did he give us a dressing down, we were produced before the principal the next day. Give a person dressing down means an act of speaking angrily to someone because they have done something wrong. Jayaprakash Narayan took a dig or two at the Prime Minister when speaking about corruption in public life. Take a dig at someone means a remark that is intended to criticize, embarrass, or make a joke about someone. Principal Rajaram was well known for his malapropism. He once introduced Countess Mountbatten as Countess Countbatten. Malapropisms. Malapropism. Malapropism means the mistaken use of a word in place of a similar sounding one. My brother Bharat Singh was adjutant of the president's bodyguard. Adjutant. ADJUTJNT. Adjutant means an officer who acts as military assistant to a more senior officer. Thank you very much.